Legion 5, 260 and 5060 with the AMD's 260 CPU and the NVIDIA's 5060 GPU. Okay, check the blog. The blog is short. Okay, you can just read it right away. It's available in many languages and also dark mode, and it will be updated. You can't update the YouTube videos all the time, so if you want to save time, read the blog. Important note, this is about the AHP10 variant. Okay, so the variant that comes with the 260 CPU. I'm not talking about the variant that comes with the 360 CPU. Okay, that can go up to 5070. I have not looked into that. There might be differences, but this is just about the 260 with the 5050 or the 5060. Okay, other important thing, the laptop comes with either an OLED or an IPS display, and not only the display changes, but with an OLED display you get a more premium laptop, sort of metal build, slightly thinner, slightly less weighty. Okay, so now let's get into the important. Let's immediately just get into this summary of the video. Okay, and the main thing about this laptop, it's an easy recommendation for anyone, but especially for students who need long battery life while they are outside, but when they are inside they need good performance and of course value for money. So this is an easy recommendation, not from me but from every other creator you find online. Good ports, comfortable keyboard, RAM, SSD are upgradable, GPU is good, and having AMD CPU again means good battery life. Choice of OLED or IPS means if there are people who are sensitive to OLED displays, I will talk about this in caution, they have the choice of the IPS display. OLED panel is excellent if you can build a room or use it in a place that don't have a lot of reflections. CPU performs close to a 13700H like the 13th gen Intel, but isn't close to a 14th gen HX CPU from Intel. So you want performance, go through Intel. You want stability, long battery life, you stick with this laptop if it's in the price range. Now I'm of course talking about Legion only. Don't compare CPU across different laptops. I'll add a video for that. Those who are comparing with Intel, I will say Intel, AMD gives you consistent performance, lower thermals, better performance across all laptop modes, and better battery life. Okay, these things are a bit let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about my Intel rant. I already did that in the last video. Now cautions, people who are ready to buy it, a few important things. If you choose OLED, be sure to know that you are not affected by PWM. So PWM is to decrease the laptop's brightness, display's brightness, display rapidly turn on and off. Okay, that's very fast. It's not noticeable to many people. Okay, 90-95% it's not noticeable, but the small minority of people who are affected by it, it is very tough. Okay, you will have nausea, you feel headaches and all. So if you live in a place where you can return the laptop if needed, then only go for the OLED. Okay, be sure to go for OLED if you are in a place where you can return the laptop or you are sure that you are not affected by it. Otherwise the OLED display is great. Also it is very glossy. So one thing was PWM, the other thing was the display is very glossy. It is in the harmful eye range. Okay, so if you use it in a place that has a lot of reflections, just get the IPS, simple as that. Or change your environment, add some curtains or special type of stuff that reduces glare in your room. Certainly it's not recommended to use the laptop by closing in dark places. Just I have a lot of things to link here. Anyways, moving on. OLED and IPS. OLED model has a metal top. It is slightly premium. The IPS is completely plastic, good plastic, but still plastic. The OLED aluminum is top, everything else is plastic. OLED is thinner, lighter, so it feels more premium. Two vents, so if you live in a country where there is a lot of dirt, you will have to clean it regularly. CPU runs hot in performance mode. Okay, so this is not, the CPU is excellent. Okay, if you just drop the wattage or limit the temperature just by a little bit, it will still perform its greatest. You can see it's so low that I didn't even bother putting a percentage. So if you come from 85 to like 80 or 75 watt, it's hardly a 2 to 3% performance drop. It's hardly any performance drop. And that's the difference between going from a battery saver sorry, performance mode to auto mode. There is very little performance drop, almost negligible. But if you do that, and if you run a CPU heavy application only, like handbrake or something, if you try to do something like that, okay, the CPU won't hit the 100 degrees centigrade. So Lenovo has done aggressive tuning with the CPU, which is not good. So if you just do your normal applications however you're running, and if you keep using the CPU like 100%, whatever you're using, check the CPU temperature. Okay, if it keeps crossing 100 degrees, just limit the wattage. Okay, I have linked it there, you can check it there, or tweak the fan curves. Anyways, the point is, the problem isn't with the CPU, it's the Lenovo's own aggressive tuning that's causing it. There are very good reasons to turn DLSS off. Okay, these include significant stutters or freezes, which are terrible to look at, artifacting, and motion sickness. Yeah, these are, so all I'm not saying that DLSS is bad, I'm saying that there are good reasons to turn it off. So please do not check any gaming benchmarks with DLSS. Okay, don't be fooled by it. Check the raw benchmarks. Okay. Even though the laptop says it has a PD charging of 140 watts, it's only with Lenovo's own proprietary charger, which is hard to come by in many countries. So with every other QC charger, it's only 100 watt max. Usually it only pulls like 80 watt or something. So don't expect that you will be able to leave the larger 700 grams charger at home. Okay, you will have to take it for most places. Now if you don't want to do high performance, you can get by with it, but I have seen that PD chargers do not work with gaming laptops. That is also linked there, what it is. Okay, this is, I have to confirm this later after someone actually installs the RAM and SSD, but this laptop only officially it says 32 gigs and 2 TB, so 1 TB 1 TB and 16 and 16, but the two websites that I pulled the reviews from, they said 64 and 4. It's only a matter of time before someone does that, and I will link it there. Now let's get into the pros and cons. Let's immediately move away from let's do this cons thing first, because it's 3 or 4 things only. CPU isn't anything new. It's the old 7840HS in disguise. So it feels bad that you're paying for a new machine and you're getting the old performance. That's one thing. Lack of the 4 vents and Lenovo's aggressive CPU tuning mill. If you run very high CPU usage application, CPU can hit its maximum. Okay, no advanced Optimus show. So if you have to move from dedicated GPU mode to iGPU mode for battery life, you will have to restart the laptop. It is recommended you run it in hybrid mode only. OLED glossy screen, so use it in rooms with, if you're getting the OLED model, your room with other lights sort of diffused, so that your eyes do not get the glare. Okay, this is a high glare screen. Speakers are below average. Just you expect a name of a Legion to have good speakers, but it's not, sadly. Now, neutrals and pros. CPU, even though it's a rebranded CPU, is a good CPU, performs well and with low power also. Okay, stable performance over time, only 3% variability. CPU performs well in all laptop modes, so balance or something, it performs great. And even the difference between in balance and performance is hardly anything. You can say 60-60 during gaming, so this is I think balance mode. 80-degree in CPU GPU combined stress test, the CPU still remains cold. I would say 80-degree is cold for gaming laptops. Idle CPU temperatures are excellent for a laptop CPU. Usually laptop CPUs are very high idle conditions. 5060, fastest version of the 5060 at 150 watt, completely stable performance, 7% slower than the 5060 and 9% over the fastest 4060 laptop of the last generation, just slightly behind the Razer Blade 14. Gaming performance is good in 1080p resolution. If you go to compare 5060 and 4060, you will see that they are mostly similar, but when you increase the resolution to 1440p, then 5060 performs better. Temperature 78, 81, even memory temperature, which are usually very high in such laptops, is still well under control. Battery, this is another great thing, that battery easily will last 6-7 hours in your normal usage. Okay, but of course not gaming, you do not game on laptop. During gaming, the laptop only pulls 170 watts, so if you get a 170 watt adapter wherever you are, it's fine. Okay, it's lighter. I have both the adapters with me. 170 watt is very light, very easy to move around with. 245 watt or bigger chargers are very bulky, 700 grams or something. Yeah, laptop itself weighs less than 2 kgs in OLED. For reference, even the thin and light laptops the other brands give are already 1.5 kgs, so it's hardly half a kg difference between the thin and light and this laptop. High system and gaming performance, long battery life, already talked. Relatively small size for a 15-inch laptop. Okay, so even if the laptop is 15-inch, in with the 15-inch display, it's relatively small, as Dave Turi showed here. So it's easy to put into any sort of bag. Okay, fan is loud but is reasonable under balanced quiet mode, and even if when it is loud, it's not irritating sounds. So some laptop sounds are like jet. It's not that high treble sound, so it's fine. OLED, very accurate display. Okay, 100% sRGB, 100% ACI, P3, excellent for color accurate words. Anyone looking for video editing professionally, photo editing professionally, it's excellent. Also for gaming, HDR gaming, just amazing. Included SSDs in various market, even the half TB or a full TB are excellent speed and excellent brands. I think it's WD SN 4000 or 7000. I mean it's a good SSD, whichever one you get. Neutral stuff. Fan stays silent during normal operation. Better air circulation than previous Legions. Just the last year Legion that had a similar 2-vent design, but not as, I would say, great as the 4-vent design. Good maintenance option. Keyboard is great. Just good keyboard on these Legion. You can just go and visit an offline store and you will understand. Good connectivity with, there is one USB 4 on this, and that has 40 Gbps speed, so that is helpful for data transfer. Okay, that's bits not bytes, divided by 8. Good sturdy laptop, no creaking noise, strong feeling laptop, upgradable SSD, RAM, and access to hardware manuals if you want it. Wi-Fi 7 speeds are great, even though it is a MediaTek Wi-Fi card. Usually MediaTeks are terrible, but on this the Wi-Fi 7 card is good. Good touchpad, as long as you do not press it down, just tap it. The buttons are horrible. Lenovo's own software, color profile X-Rite software is great, so the out of the box color accuracy is good for starting with your professional colored application. One hand open laptop doesn't already talked about this, already talked about this, already talked about this. USB 4 is connected to the iGPU. So if you are running on a battery saver mode and you suddenly need to connect the laptop to an external display, if you connect it via USB 4, you will get longer battery life. Of course, the HDMI connects to the NVIDIA GPU. Included SSD, good speed, already talked about this. No SD card, that's a bad thing, but can't have everything. Camera is just barely usable. Ports are all around the laptop, so no clean setup. Charging and HDMI is the only thing that's at the back, but for if you will plug in mouse or anything, so there will be cable hanging all around the laptop. Bottom side gets heated up during high workload, so do not use it on your palm while on your legs while gaming. Okay, so anything else? We already talked about this performance drop. The difference between 5050 and 5060 is not that much in gaming performance, but since you have extra CUDA cores, it matters for a lot of applications. Okay, so OLED, here are some benchmarks. Pick GPU, CPU. If you do this stress, we already talked about this. 80 degrees and what's that? 80 degrees and 80 degrees. CPU, GPU do the stress test. PTM is pre-applied. PTM thermal paste is pre-applied on the laptop, so you will not have to change it for most of the life of the laptop, but you will have to open the laptop's back panel and clean the fans of dust if you live in that place. Lot of ports, but as I said, scattered around the laptop. Charger 1.7 kgs, the higher one. I already did about with the reflectiveness. 80 watt hour. What's there to talk about? SSD, you can install full size or small size. It says Wi-Fi card is replaceable, but it's hard to find a Wi-Fi card that actually fits these machines. This is the smaller SK Hynix card. Some places it's WD, so it's both small and full size. You can see OLED is reflective outdoors, as I said, even indoors. And with that, is there anything else? No, since we do not have 5070. Now let's coming to the final question. Is this a recommendation? Yes or no? Absolutely. It's an easy recommendation. Legion, Slim 5, AMD, even all the earlier Legions have been an easy recommendation. Before the 13th gen, so they before the 14th gen, 14th and 13th gen, I think it was 12th. So Intel 12th and 13th gen Legions were also an easy recommendation. Problems started happening with the 14th gen, and after that Legion, AMD were the easy recommendation for battery life and for stability. And that, I guess that is it. It's an easy recommendation. Just if you notice the CPU temperatures, if you are one of the rare people who just use the CPU performance to their maximum, just put a sort of limit, either a temperature limit or a thermal limit, wattage limit on the CPU. The CPU will still perform fine, it just won't hit that much. That's the only thing that you have to know. Okay, and apart from that, it's great. I think you have the option that you can choose OLED or IPS, so it will also factor in the price. But in general, if someone is affected by OLED, you have the IPS option. Legions were always great, always a recommendation. Actually, my channel started when we started talking about Lenovo, the Indian channel. It started with Legions only, not any other LOQ or budget laptops. So see you guys next time.